And it's been in the papers that the largest solar utility company down here closed down because they couldn't make enough money selling their solar cell generated electricity to PG&E, so they're just breaking it up and selling the pieces. So the question, and of course all sorts of physicists are visiting me. Either I have a delegation from the Air Force that comes and sees me, but they can't do it officially. And although I am under official NASA investigation, and a delegation should have been here about 3 weeks ago, various events have interceded, and we don't know, what is holding that up. I've been promised now this is going to happen in September. But DePalma, of course, has been wondering why it's so difficult to get something which is basically so simple into the public eye and get it into the universities, the Federal Commission, and the New World Order and everything. Scientists have always been people who had a certain degree of uncertainty connected with them in terms of the people that like to do accounts, I guess, and add up bank accounts and own property. Because scientists and inventors, I guess, are in that category, would always come up with something that other people couldn't understand. And at certain pivotal times in the history of our world, those other things have changed our whole society, like the internal combustion engine or the atomic bomb, for instance. And so what has been the lot of the scientist in our society? Well, of course, he's stuck in an office and he's only given small parts of a problem to solve. And his output is classified so that nobody can find out about it. I mean, we look at classification of documents in terms of great secrets that are being unearthed in laboratories somewhere, which are being withheld from us. But what I know is that without freedom in science, there's nothing discovered, there's nothing new. And so what happens is a poor man gives up his total freedom in order to pursue the career of being a scientist and work on some small portion of a problem. And then the big problems don't get solved, like the problem of free energy, the problem of creating the pollutionless source of energy that may give us an electric car. You see, those are the big problems. How to feed everyone on this planet. How to you could go on. How to predict when the next big earthquake is going to come down in California. Not to the point where everybody's afraid to say boo, but when people could get serious about it and maybe do something about it instead of being hit by surprise. So those are the important things.
I would like to say at this point that you're listening to KPFK Los Angeles. The program is Something's Happening, and our live guest, as of August 7th, 1991, is Bruce DePalma, the inventor of the N machine.
I'm sure what has transpired across the video screen in the last few minutes has stimulated your imagination. What we're talking about is an energy revolution which will transform the planet. Now, just as in the past, when something like this comes along, like a flying machine, for instance, or an internal combustion engine or a locomotive, there are prior industries which have been established with older technologies which have to be displaced. Now, certainly we can be amused at the fact that Edison's light bulb displaced the candle and the gas flame, and the airplane displaced the Pony Express and the Wells Fargo stage. But now we're in a situation where we have to displace the oil well and the gasoline station by a machine which can extract energy from the unlimited sea of energy which surrounds us. Now, the development of this idea and its exploitation in our world are problems which only the most adventurous among us should even think about getting involved with. Most of the financial people that have looked at this situation are frightened about the consequences to the presently established situations in the world based on atomic energy and oil. For those of us who can see the handwriting on the wall, all this must pass. We're at the end of the fossil fuel era. Atomic energy, even if it were totally exploited, couldn't carry us more than 10 or 20 years more into the future. So we must adopt a new source of energy now. So the implications of all of this and its financial consequences are things which must be thought out and dwelt upon. And so I'll leave you with the thought that this is a situation which will come to pass. Whether someone in the United States decides to take this up and finance the development in America is open to question. We just don't know at this time. But we do know that the Indian government and the constructors in Germany, which are now moving into mass production, are going to preempt this invention unless we Americans decide to do something about our condition. So I'm open to all the kinds of proposals which might result from this. But we have here in front of us a new generation of energy technology, and it has to be taken up. And who will be the pioneers in this adventure will be the billionaires of the new age and the space age of America. So for all that, I leave you with this.
This is a trade publication known as Magnets in Your Future. I don't know actually how we proceeded into this publication, but what you see there is the copper disc protruding from one of the individual end machines on the N1 double rotored end machine. Coming down to the bottom half of the liquid metal current collectors over unity. We defy the law of conservation of energy here. The law of conservation of energy is defunct as of the unequivocal demonstrations of space power generation.
So here we have the halves joined.
The halves joined on one shaft, yes.
Pick up complete ring on one side, the channeled copper disc on the other.